what do we do to prevent fungal diseases? We use a strategy that's called integrated pest management. I just call it pest management because that's what we all do now. It was kind of a hip thing to say for a long time, but now it's just standard practice. But what integrated pest management is it means you're just using all the tools at your disposal to effectively and efficiently combat against pests and diseases. So you're using cultural chemical controls. You're also scouting and being proactive about what you're doing. So cultural controls being things like all that canopy management, shoot thinning, leaf pulling, positioning your shoots, getting them vertical, lifting the wires up so that you're capturing, if you're on those VSP trellises with vertical shoot position, you're capturing those shoots, keeping them vertical, separated apart. Hedging. Hedging is a double-edged sword because you hedge because you don't want the shoots to come fold over and then create more density. But also when you hedge, if the vines are still actively growing, they can push lateral shoots out of the leaf axils, and then that actually creates greater density in your canopy. So you have to go out and take the lateral shoots out. Fruit thinning, not really a canopy management thing, but kind of. Fruit thinning, it's definitely a cultural control because you're trying to do things like the clusters can grow together, and right where they grow together at that juncture, you're not going to get good spray penetration. It's not going to dry out quickly, and then fungal disease is going to take hold in that juncture. Suckering is something that we have to do as well. And so suckers are the little shoots that emerge from the roots or like down by the soil. And the things that are on the trunk. So we need to take those suckers off because they don't get hit with fungicides. Remember, by the way, fungicides are used in organic biodynamic and conventional farming. So it's not that fungicides aren't being used on an organic or a biodynamic farm. They absolutely are. It's just different fungicides. So they're not being hit by fungicides. So they can just get vector disease. So we get rid of those. And then, of course, there's chemical controls. So all the spraying that we have to do. And so we have different types we can break it into different things. So there's biological chemistries, which are largely ineffective. Some of them work kind of. There's one for botrytis that works decently, actually. And then soft chemistries are things like oils. We can spray like mineral oil to smother things out. So mineral oil works against preventing powdery mildew. It also can kill some mites. And then there are, of course, the conventional chemistries, which are, synthetics, that sort of thing. I would say the chemistry that makes up the backbone of spray programs globally is sulfur, elemental sulfur, like I've discussed in the history lecture. Elemental sulfur is the backbone of almost any spray program in the world because it's very good at preventing powdery mildew, and it's very cheap. It's like $1 a pound, and we apply like somewhere between 3 to 5 pounds an acre. So it's extremely cheap for us. This is what spraying looks like when you do it. These are various types of sprayers. This would be like the old orchard sprayer here, which is what we used to use for a very long time. And now many of us have moved to these kinds of units here, which are over the row units that can do 2 rows at once. This is a different type of sprayer. Like this sprayer here, the orchard sprayer, forces air out of nozzles, and then there's a fan. You can kind of see it. There's a fan in that thing, and then the fan pushes air and then moves the canopy around so that you're getting leaves covered in spray. This is what's called a Venturi sprayer. Similar, really, really fast air coming out of these nozzles, doing the same thing, moving the canopy around to try to get the spray into all around the leaves on the back sides, front sides, that sort of thing. These are quite nice little units. These are called electrostatic sprayers. These are something that kind of was hip for a little bit in the early 2000s and then kind of fell out of fashion with grape growers because we really didn't see greater deposition of fungicides with these sprayers than just using something like this. And then we ended up paying a lot more money for these than we did for these. So this is not really something you see that much anymore in vineyards. Further, they tend to break. It's just one more thing to break. But what this is, the principle that this operates on is the water goes through the nozzles and then it applies an electrical charge to the water. And that charge is opposite of the net charge of a plant. I can't remember if it's positive or negative, but that's the idea. And then, so you have the opposite charge of what the net charge of a plant is. So then you're supposed to get greater coverage on the plant. But yeah, like I said, it's largely has gone by the wayside by most professional viticulturists around the world. And then these are kind of cool. This is called a Lipco recirculating sprayer. There are many different types of these. Lipco is this particular brand. These sprayers can actually recirculate spray inside. So it's doing the same thing as those other sprayers. It's pushing the spray through, and then it's any spray that's not hitting the canopy and staying with the vine, it's getting into this little shield here and then recirculating back into the tank. So you're minimizing drift, which is an environmental issue, and also can be a legal issue. But also you're just it's more efficient because you're able to essentially apply less chemical per unit land area because you're just recirculating the stuff. You're not just losing stuff to the wind and so forth. There are still issues with these. They're a little heavy. Those arms can break and stuff. But they seem to be getting better and better as they've been figuring out some of the practical problems with these. So we'll see where that heads in the future. I would say generally what I see most of the time in vineyards are things like this and that kind of sprayer.